Moving ahead, Rwanda Capital Market Authority has issued a circular invitation for public comments on draft law intended to regulate virtual assets business in Rwanda. William Evans tells us more on this.
According to the Capital Market Authority, following the national risk assessment of virtual assets and virtual asset service providers in Rwanda, key risks associated with virtual assets were identified along with corresponding recommendations. As thus, working together with the Central Bank of Rwanda, they are moving to establish a comprehensive regulatory framework for virtual assets and virtual asset service providers in Rwanda.
When it comes to virtual asset service providers, anyone who is selling any services related to virtual assets, generally to the public or section of the public. But the law also talks about issuers of virtual assets, because sometimes you can offer those assets to the public. Yeah, so it caters for both issuers of those virtual assets and service providers.
Capital Markets has, through a circular invitation for public comments on a draft law regulating virtual assets business in Rwanda, encouraged all Rwandans to share thoughts on this draft law, and here is why.
We put this out there because we want to know the public opinion on what we are planning to do. So we want their comments on the draft law, and we have developed this law because first there is an institution called Financial Action Task Force, which has raised an issue that the business or virtual assets can be one of the ways to allow money laundering. So that's why the law was put in place. But there are also other risks that we intend to mitigate. So that's why we have developed the law, to provide generally guidance to the public and to the service providers when it comes to dealing in virtual assets.
For Rwandans who have been engaging in virtual asset trading and virtual asset services provision, and also those who have made losses in this area of business, Ms. Karine has this to say.
For those who have been already affected by this, they can approach RIB, because currently that's the institution which has the mandate to investigate when there are some criminal activities that have been happened. And in the future, when the law will be in place, CMA will have its own responsibilities, like making sure that the law is being implemented, putting in place other implementing regulations or guidelines, licensing service providers, and also approving issuance of those virtual assets. And in case maybe there is a need to investigate in criminal activities or other activities that are not complying with the law, we have powers to, for example, to impose fines when there is an offense. But if it is a criminal, then we will have to engage RIB. That's the standard practice.
This draft law aims to preventing and mitigating risks associated with money laundering and terrorist financing through virtual assets, maintaining market integrity, fair practices and transparency in the virtual asset sector, and protecting consumers and investors in relation to virtual asset business, among others, before the end of this financial year. William Evans, RTV News.